Hey everybody, welcome to Climb Ladder for our 144th episode presented by Washed Up Network. I'm your co-host Hunter, and my equally good-looking twin brother Duncan is sitting right here with me. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning in each week. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Plus, you can see two of the same face when you head over to YouTube. This episode is brought to you by Rugged Roots, who brings us the best in beard products. Use code LADDER20 at ruggedroots.com for 20% off your purchase. As always, let's climb the ladder.
Oh, the sound of opening day.
Crispy.
Well, Hunter,
Ah,
cheers. We finally made it. We didn't think
cheers.
that
It's baseball season.
didn't think that we'd ever get there, but it was a good football season, and it was a good spring training, and all of a
World
sudden we're
Baseball
here. So
Classic.
yeah, had some good sports in there, and got to get your friends. And
Yep.
it was yeah, good off season, but we're officially back this week on March 30th is opening day this Thursday. Our Mariners open at home against the Cleveland Guardians, and we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah. Pretty sweet. Really looking forward to it. Doesn't seem like too bad of an off season. I feel like we stayed busy. There was no turmoil of, last year we were still in uncertainty zone and everything, but there's been a lot of hype with the World Baseball Classic. I wonder if that would have come during the CBA negotiations, how the World Baseball Classic would have looked without a certain start to the MLB season.
Yeah, I think that would have even more excitement because you'd have even more longing for baseball, and I think that that would have filled the gap a little bit nicer. So, but glad we didn't really have to worry about it. But yeah, kind of funny to think about.
Yeah, well, I think right off the bat, we got to get into some of our favorite stuff. And we just got to dive into some Mariners baseball. They've had a lot of off-season hype, a lot different. It's funny to look back at the difference going into last season. It was like, yeah, they have Julio Rodriguez, like, da da da, they'll maybe have a 70-75 win season or something. And right now, everybody's like, watch out, top 10 team. Like, this bullpen is gonna carry the team through, and like postseason is not enough. Like, this has championships written on it.
Yeah, I think last season it was how is Jared Kelenic going to do? Trammell started the season. I don't, did he start in Seattle and then he went back to Tacoma and he was kind of back and forth?
Yeah.
There's some of that. Kirby was highly anticipated and he did pay off, but I feel like there was a lot more uncertainty, a lot more shuffling of personnel at different positions to start the season. And now, like, I have the opening day roster open, and I'm like confident as I go down the list. And I don't think there's really any question marks. Like, we've got depth, we've got experience, and I think, I mean, we talked about it as soon as last season ended, but I think we just continue to carry the awesome momentum that we had in our last game against the Astros all the way to this Thursday. So I think we're right in it, and I really do think that we'll come out swinging.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we'll have to talk pitchers later, but I think we go 2 through 9 position by position. Um, and we got to start with behind the dish because obviously last season to give us our postseason berth, obviously the big dumper, Cal Raleigh behind the plate, right place at the right time. And he put that one in the seats to break the drought, but they're actually going with 3 catchers for starting this season. Same tandem with Raleigh and Murphy that they had last season. Tom Murphy was out with injury a little bit, and then they acquired Cooper Hummel. And they're gonna hang on to him primarily for catcher position, but he can also be placed in the corner outfield spots. So he's good, maybe every 8 to 10 days if a guy needs a break or if there's an injury, kind of bridge the gap. So not the worst thing, and I kind of like it. Rest those guys' knees back there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If there's any position to have a bunch of depth at, I think that catcher is essential to do it. I think we already have Tom Murphy and Cal Raleigh, as far as good players back there, but I think it doesn't hurt to mix in a third. And then, especially if you do want to give one of the outfielders a little bit of a break. I thought we were outfielder heavy in the off season, but obviously we lost Mitch Haniger, which was a bummer to the Giants. And I think we have three solid outfielders, but also having a little bit of depth at catcher that has the flexibility to rotate out there. I think that'll be helpful. So yeah, I think we'll be looking good behind the dish. And yeah, let's move into the infield. First base, Ty France. I mean, you gotta love the guy, and I think that he's definitely the right guy for the job.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of production he has after dealing with injuries more towards the back half of last season. I think that really plagued him, but if he would have carried the first half of his season prior to the All-Star break all the way through, I think that really shows what he's fully capable of. So I'm excited. He's a clubhouse guy. You can just tell, like, I just want to meet up with him and hang out and have a beer.
Yeah, he seems like a good everyday dude. And first base, we really haven't had anybody hold it down for a while that's consistent, household name, stays at that spot. And so I
Justin
think,
Smoke.
yeah, Justin Smoke's probably the last one, or we had Vogie in there for a little bit when he wasn't DH, which I also saw. Fun fact about Vogie on Twitter over the weekend: he's never had an attempted stolen base in his career. So
I know I saw he came out, the MLB released a promo with him.
yeah, him
Um
and Buck Showalter, because the bases are whatever 6 inches closer now. So yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, I think Ty France will finally be that consistent name that we hear at first. Obviously, there's players like Dylan Moore who we can mix in, as needed. But jumping over to second is the first of our new names. We had two or three big offseason acquisitions, and that's Colton Wong starting at second. That's going to be really really exciting to see. Definitely a veteran in the clubhouse. We needed that presence, and he's been on 6 different postseason teams, which definitely adds the credibility to his resume. And I think if we're going to make a deep postseason run like everybody thinks we should, I think Colton Wong will definitely be a big impact in that.
yeah, and it's cool that bringing in some different guys just from around the league. Um I mean, one being Cooper Hummel, one being Colton Wong, one being Teoscar Hernandez, just bringing in different guys who have experience with different teams and can bring just something maybe a little bit different approach, but tie that into the Mariners' way. And I think Wong's gonna be really good in that position, a crucial middle infield spot that was kind of a question mark for a while, but he seems like a good guy. Um, just just being with the guys, being part of the team, I just from what I've seen, should be really successful in that position.
Yeah, excited to see him kind of own second. I don't think we've really had anybody to hold it down since Robinson Cano was there. I know we had D. Gordon who flipped between second and the outfield, but hopefully Colton Wong is here to stay for quite a few seasons and somebody that can really come in and make an impact. A name moving over to shortstop that we're very familiar with and that we obviously know and love. And let's see, he's only on his second year of a 5-year deal. Um, So, I mean, I think we have JP until he retires in an ideal world, but JP Crawford, household name at shortstop, somebody with a good bat, good speed, an amazing glove. I mean, that guy's got range. I'm curious to see what the shift will do to him, but it probably shouldn't affect him too much. But yeah, I think he's a double whammy field and batter. He's probably one of the top in both. And I'm excited to see JP just keep balling this year. He also brings good energy, which I think we need to continue to carry into the postseason.
Yeah, JP is the man. He definitely brings a fun identity to the Mariners, and I think a lot of kids look up to kind of how electric he is and just like how he carries himself, really positive, really upbeat. So I think that really shows. And another guy who has kind of become part of the face of the team is Eugenio Suarez. Fan favorite, a lot of people like him. He he gets the fans going at the stadium. You can hear it on the TV in the background. And he's really been producing. I don't know if you saw him for Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic, but he looked good. And so hoping he carries some of that into the season.
Yeah, he was definitely the smile. I forget what his saying was, but um I think it was like no bad vibes or something, but you just smile when you see the guy. He's always happy. He's always lifting each other up. And yeah, good to have kind of the momentum rolling off of the World Baseball Classic. So let's hop out to right field and look at one of our newest and probably biggest additions, Teoscar Hernandez, holding down right field, and definitely somebody that I'm excited to learn a little bit more about. I hadn't really seen him before. I know he's a big name, but until he made it to Seattle, he wasn't really on my radar. And so I'm definitely excited to see what he's able to do out in the field. He's looks like he's got a pretty big frame, so I imagine he'll be able to cover some ground and lay out for some good ones. And I also hope that he's got a good bat because I think we need that. We need the consistency. And if he's like any of the other vets that we've brought in, just somebody who can get up there and make an immediate impact.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, really is his bat, see how he can contribute. And yeah, just looking for that stick and a solid outfielder. I mean that position's been held by some greats, most notably Ichiro. So see what he can do with it, and then move over to the captain of the outfield in with J Rod, 22 years old, coming off rookie of the year. Um, Man, I don't know what to say about him. I think we all know what we're gonna get with him.
Yeah, a guy who really doesn't need an introduction and is probably one of the most followed players across the league, not even just the American League, but all of Major League Baseball. I think he was number 10 or 11, I want to say, on the MLB top 100. So to be 22, to have him locked in for the next 12 or whatever years that we have him, makes me excited because I think people are going to get used to hearing and seeing about Julio and the Mariners. And that's something we've talked before. We've talked with Clayton, we've talked with Jim, talked with Joey. The Mariners don't get a lot of love, being kind of tucked away. They're, I think, the most isolated Major League Baseball team. And I think that's going to change this year. They're going to have to talk about the Mariners because of the things that Julio are doing, the things that Kellenic are doing. And as we get closer and closer to the end of the season, I think people are really going to have the Mariners on their radar, with Julio being a big part of that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see what he can do, what he's capable of, and I hope that he just adds on to his resume and just builds that and becomes kind of an icon across the league. I think would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Well, finishing up over in left field with somebody who's been talked about quite a bit, has a big target on his back, Jared Kelnick, and it shows that he might be sharing a little bit of spotlight with AJ Pollock.
Yeah, I was just pulling AJ up because not familiar with him. Looks like he's actually been in the league for this will be his 11th season, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
he was a first round pick in 2009 with the Diamondbacks, where he spent the first almost half of his career, actually the first 2/3 so far, with the Diamondbacks until he went over to the Dodgers in 2019. And he was with the Dodgers until just before last season. He became a free agent, and then or he was traded to the White Sox, and then the Mariners scooped him up off of free agency this past fall after the World Series.
yeah, excited to see what he can do. I honestly don't know anything about him, but looks like he's definitely later in his career, but hopefully still has some life left in him. Not a major hitter by any means, but looks like he's pretty consistent. Looks like he could be an RBI guy. Definitely give the outfield a little bit of break if they need it. Probably run at that DH spot too if he's already in the mix. And it's kind of good. I feel like we've been talking for the last couple of years how we're a young team. That's kind of what we've been known for. And so to get people like this in here who maybe they're not a Bryce Harper, they're not a huge ticket item, but they do have some veteran experience. I think that'll make a big impact throughout the season to keep guys healthy and mix other people in.
Yeah, seeing some things from Jerry Dipoto, our true and faithful leader, GM. He said that searching for somebody like that, kind of a veteran guy in the locker room, especially with Mitch Haniger's absence. I know he wasn't as old, but kind of in that same vein. And yeah, using, like you said, using AJ in the left field spot to kind of mix in there with Kelnick, and DH. I think he'll just be a good locker room guy. They have him for a year on his contract, so see how he does. I mean, not bad. It says he has a 285 career against lefties, and 245 overall. So should be a good stick to cycle in to the batting order.
Yeah, well, let's round it out with our two bench spots and then our starting five, including Louis Castillo for opening day. We've got Sam Haggerty. He made quite the emergence at the end of the season. I know I got to see him in the game against the Astros, the 18 inninger, and he was fun to watch. He definitely is good and kind of that utility guy. He'll probably be in the mix at least a couple times a week. And then Tommy La Stella, he was another offseason acquisition, veteran experience again, like we've been talking about. I think the ownership group really balanced out the young guys with some good key veteran signings. And so excited to see what Haggerty will continue to do, what impact LaStella will have as he comes in and kind of finds his own in the Mariners. But it'll be good. I think our coaching staff has always done a good job of mixing in just different regular players, not having designated DH, but having just the opportunity to mix other guys in without really letting them lose their beat, but they don't necessarily have to go play in the field every day. So I think that'll be good, and I think we'll find a good groove.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm excited about that. And then, man, I get really excited about this starting five for our pitchers. Leading the way is Castillo out front, followed by Robbie Ray, Logan Gilbert, who really has emerged the last couple of years, Marco Gonzalez, and George Kirby, who I am excited to see the production out of him, not being held back. I think we're gonna get a lot out of him.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely excited. I think it'll be pretty amazing to see Castillo just go out and deal. I mean, the dude pitches with vengeance. He pitches mean. He's got such an arm and he's fun to watch. And then we really know what we're getting out of Robbie Ray, Gilbert, Marco, and George Kirby. Marco has been around. He's been a good Mariner. He's a Washington guy. Went to Gonzaga. Had a little bit of trouble in the last couple seasons. He was even our opening day guy a few years ago, but excited to still see him in the mix. And yeah, I think between Gilbert and Kirby getting some young pitching in there, that'll be pretty fun to see. And then hoping, fingers crossed, that our bullpen stays healthy and could be one of the dominant forces in the league.
Yeah, I was gonna say out of our 8 guys rounding out the bullpen, who's one of your favorites?
Yeah, I think Paul Sewald was one that we got to see in the playoffs a little bit. And Matt Brash was probably the most electric. And so I'm excited to see what Brash will do. Um, Trying to see if there's anything else that kind of stuck out to me. I guess Penn Murphy. I remember him because that's such a baseball name, Penn Murphy. I'm like, you can't go wrong with that. And with that kind of name as a reliever, you have to come in and just deal lights out. So I think with the 8 people that they have identified right now, as long as it can stay intact, I think we'll be on to something.
Yeah, I agree with you on all those. Matt Brash is probably my notable favorite. Just following his story the last couple of years, his development in single A and what Dipoto has seen out of him, and his potential. And hey, he doesn't have a spot as a starter, but let's throw him in the bullpen. And man, it's so cool working with guys, seeing where they fit best for on behalf of the team and then just let it run.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. And I think we will have a pretty solid crew. So I'm not too worried about it. And I think that I think it'll be exciting. I just want to see him in action. I want to see him go sweep the Guardians and make a statement at home.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Dunk, I think as opening day is here, I think when everybody hears this, it'll be before the first pitch of the day of the season to start the 162. But what are we eating? I feel like it's time. We haven't talked about it for a while. Sometimes we do some bridge the gap in the off season, but I think it's time for some ballpark eats.
Yeah, I was looking at the schedule before we started recording earlier, and the Mariners start with 7 games in a row at T-Mobile Park. And so you can't help but think about, what are you going to eat? You only get one chance to have the first meal of the 2023 season. And so you have to make sure you capitalize on it. And Hunter even informed me right before we started recording that T-Mobile Park has even further enhanced their menu. And so I'm going to pull that up. But Hunter, give me the off the bat, what are you going for? And then we can dive into the new menu a little bit. It's Thursday, March 30th. First pitch 7:10. You roll into the ballpark at 5:45 or 6. And where are you headed?
Man, I'm actually trying to get a game on the books. Not going to be there for opening day, but pretty soon here. And I'm going to have to go with the OG. Gotta have it. Longer than your leg is some tall kettle corn because I'm not missing a single pitch here. Like I'm sitting here, and if I get hungry, just reach down in between, grab the faithful tall kettle corn. Um, I know that we've pumped Bodie in the past, but I think I'm gonna go for a big 24 ounce and see how far into the game that can get me. Um, I mean, hot day. Hopefully, well, it's not this time. It was like windy and 45 today, but
Yeah.
I'm looking for a tall Miller Lite or maybe a Rainier to break in the ballpark. But give me that 24-ounce Miller, a tall kettle corn, and probably a Seattle dog to get things started. Some onions, some cream cheese, and we'll see where it goes.
Man, I think you can't go wrong with the tall kettle corn. Bring that into the game. Have that at the seat to get you through the first couple innings. But man, it's dinner time, so you're gonna get hungry at some point. You got to go hit the hot dog stand, the sausages. I was just scrolling through and one thing I see that I saw on Twitter, you can't go wrong with the Cal Raleigh inspired calzone from Ballard Pizza. I feel like that's electric and is just going to sell out every night. But I was headed to behind the scoreboard, left field side, Edgar's Cantina. Um, you can't go wrong with Edgar's Cantina because it's going to be awesome every time. And just the picture of these crispy fish taquitos and shrimp quesadillas, I mean, that looks amazing. And so it's going to be good. That's not your typical ballpark food, but hey, I'm here for dinner too, and I'm going to make sure I load up. So grab that. If I am at Edgar's Cantina, I'm probably going to grab a 24 Modelo. Add the lime, please. But if not, I'll probably go find like a Coors or a Miller and get something that's a little bit easier to sip on. They even added Din Tai Fung for any people in the west side of Washington that are familiar with that. And then of course you can't go wrong with a good old cheeseburger or a hot dog. So man, I can just taste the ballpark right now. I'm gonna be watching and in spirit on Thursday. But man, I definitely wish that I was there. And I'll let you go before I have something else to add in here.
Man, yeah, looking at this new and improved menu, more just updated with a few new items. Um but yeah, they released a news article just a week before the before opening day, so this was last week, and said, "Hey, these are the things to look out for. These are the sections. This is the part of the stadium that it's in." Um and like you said, the Big Dumper inspired the calzone. I like that play on words. One really good local news spot that I just tried actually with dad. It's called Chick Chick Boom, and they are some of the crispiest wings. I did not even prepared, but they were bone-in traditional wings with dry rub, and those were good. It looks like they got the tendies in T-Mobile Park. You get the waffle fries, chicken
Mm.
sandwich, and then probably only at the stadium. I didn't see it on the menu at the actual restaurant. Garlic waffle fries. So you get a
Ooh,
little bit of the baseball, a little bit of the restaurant. Boom, garlic waffle fries.
sounds like
Um,
a Mariners thing. If you've ever walked in the ballpark, all you smell is garlic when you walk in.
yeah, no doubt. Um, but yeah, also, I didn't really know much about it. Mom told me about it. Huge deal is Moto Pizza. And you actually have to order this 2 to 3 months out. And then they make it for you. It's so backed up. He only makes it with the amount of dough that he has that day. So I'm surprised that they're doing it at the stadium, but it sounds like it's going to be pretty limited.
Yeah, it just reading the ingredients, a mango cilantro chimichurri with garlic banana ketchup. I mean, that doesn't sound like a pizza I've ever described before.
Yeah,
So,
especially for a baseball game.
yeah, I imagine the line, if it is what you say it is up there, is going to be quite long. Well, it looks like for dessert, we're having some salt and straw. If anybody's ever had that, um, oh my gosh. If anybody's ever had salt and straw, it's amazing. I was just reading this season's new flavor is Beecher's flagship cheese with apple pie cinnamon rolls, which is a T-Mobile Park exclusive. I was not aware of that. That sounds like something very Washington like and something that I would probably try because salt and straw does not miss on their ice cream flavors.
100% like the best. It's so good. And you threw out Beechers. I think you can get Beechers in the stadium. You can
If
definitely
not,
get it in the airport.
yeah, if not, I bought the take and bake from Costco frozen Beechers. Tasted just
Nice.
like the thing, had leftovers for lunch today.
So good.
Literally cannot go wrong. But Hunter, I think what the people are waiting for is, hey, I already bought my ticket. You know, it was probably 15 to 30 or $40. How am I going to save a little bit once I get in there? Because you know you're going to spend as much or more on food and drink than you did on your ticket. And the Mariners are listening. And in a world of inflation and high interest rates, there is still a real value menu. And T-Mobile Park has, I didn't even know this was a thing last year, but it looks like they debuted it last year. The T-Mobile Park value menu loaded with Uncrustables, apple slices, carrots and ranch, hummus and pretzels, pepperoni sticks, ice cream sandwiches. I mean, the list goes on. Think like high school football game concessions and more. It's at the value menu at T-Mobile Park.
Yeah, I actually found out I didn't know about the snacky stuff like Uncrustables, carrots. I feel like that'd be good with any I just saw in the article. I heard about it. I didn't know where to find it, but the ham swaggerty sandwich.
Mm.
Um Great play on Sam Haggerty's name, the ham swaggerty. That's in the walk-off market, which is part of that value section, kind of a grab and go. Kind of an a la carte grab and go, which you can also do with beer. But I did know about the value beer last year. um, I don't know, took a trip to the basement and grabbed a $5 Miller High Life, just a little 12 ouncer. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna
but
say
the
that.
value
I
beer's
mean,
there.
you talk about value menu and then you get the $5 or $6 beers. I mean, people were tweeting at the Mariners that they were spending more on beer than they were on parking in their ticket. And yeah, I mean, you could spend $20 on a 24 ounce, but if you're willing to just go for a couple 12s and you can get in at $5 or $6, I feel like you really can't beat that. Like they've listened, it's good craft beer still, and you can't really complain at that point.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I feel like maybe every other trip to the ballpark, you got to hit one of those previous that we were talking about. Like, hey, let's get a good meal because there's good restaurant food there, but also you're paying a premium price. So, you know, if you get a more expensive ticket, maybe hit the value menu, value beer. If you get a bleacher seat and you don't even end up sitting down and you're, you know, standing out in the pen, yeah, hit you know, get one of the tasty eats or something.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, I mean, I'm hungry. I don't know about you. I feel like once you start talking about the things that you're going to eat at the ballpark, that's when it gets real. And it feels like baseball's in the air. It's still a little bit cold for my liking here in Idaho, but nonetheless, baseball is here. It's happening this week, March 30th, MLB opening day. Mariners at T-Mobile Park, picking up right where they left off last fall, October 15th. I was there for the last game. That tragic one against the Astros, but I bet it's going to be a sold out, packed crowd, and I can't wait to see where this season goes. I mean, we could be making history here in a few months.
I'm putting my stamp on it. Just get out in front. We love a good, way too early prediction, but we're going to end the season with a better record than the Astros.
Yes, no doubt about that for sure. And I think we'll make it farther in the playoffs too. I really feel that.
Hey, American League Championship, here we come.
Here we come. Well, Hunter, speaking of championships and something that's coming up this weekend, we've got the Final Four NCAA men's and women's championships coming up here soon. Brackets busted like a rock dropped on glass. I mean, there was just, I think it was 20 total brackets out of 20 million filled out that guessed the Final Four correctly. No perfect brackets even after the first round. And this has been quite the March Madness. I know neither you or I follow basketball super close, but I can definitely say I've watched more basketball in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 4 months. And it's just been fun. Like it's fun to watch. It's been such close games. And for the first time ever, we don't have any of the top 3 seeds represented in the Final Four.
Wild. It's so crazy. I mean, I would say the first 2 rounds was like, whoa, this is crazy. I can't believe this kind of stuff's happening. And then the Elite Eight hit. Well, Sweet 16 was like, wow, there's some good stories. Elite Eight came and it was like, man, like out of the money. Nobody's winning. Like now it's just a crapshoot. But it has been crazy nonetheless. I mean, this people say it's wild every year, and it usually is until like last year, the Final Four was full of bloods, and that was just how it shook out, which favors a lot of people. That's how you pick your brackets, blah, blah, blah. This one is just unprecedented.
Yeah, everybody thought, well, everybody always thinks going in, okay, you're gonna, filter them down, take, by the time you get to the Elite Eight or the Final Four, it's gonna be mostly ones and twos. And we saw that immediately, kind of probably what we were in for when Purdue got upset by Farley Dickinson University out of New Jersey, small private school, made it to the Sweet 16, which was just incredible. But what's even more incredible is really the fact that we have UConn at rank 4, we've got San Diego State and Miami at number 5 each, and then Florida Atlantic University at number 9, who just against all odds keeps playing hard. And there's always the argument, like especially with the college football playoff, people are always like, well, it ended up being the top 2 teams in the country anyways. And my argument back to that is always, well, your playoff pool's not big enough, because we easily could have just sent Purdue and Houston to the championship. They probably would have played a good game and we never would have known the difference. But on the flip side, when you actually have to work hard to get there and go through the round of 64, the round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite Eight, Final Four, and then your 6th game of the playoffs is the national championship, that really proves who should be there. And there's buzzer beaters. We had overtime just last weekend, and you just never know who's going to make it. And so I say all that because when you're playing through 5 rounds to get the best of the best, like even this Final Four, we have 4 amazing teams, none ranked in the top 3 in their region, but they all have a shot at playing for the national championship. And it's smaller conferences too, which is also unheard of. So that's why I'm a big proponent in college football. You got to expand the pool. I know we're looking at 12 teams in 2024, but I think you keep expanding because you never know when that 16 seed is going to upset the 1. You never know when the 9 seeds are going to keep taking it to a 4. So I'm excited. This has been a crazy March Madness, and it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, this has been wild. I mean, honestly, I stopped looking at my bracket after after the Sweet 16. I was like, wherever it happens, it happens. But it's not even worth me looking at anymore because of all the upsets. And I know upsets like 7-10 doesn't really count, 8-9 doesn't really count. A 4-13, okay, that's big. But some of these wild ones, it's like, how did Alabama lose? Like just happened. Um, Also, I think back to what we were talking about with the regions, like make them make sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
that also makes it hard to follow. Um, but yeah, I mean, hey, I guess the 4 best teams at the right time are there, and I agree with football, like expand it, um, you know, make it anybody's game. Let a San Diego State play in Alabama in football, or whatever it is, like that. Like at that level, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. I think that's one reason why, as soon as March hits, I go all in on college basketball, because it fills the gap nicely. Like I didn't even realize, the last 2 weeks between nothing really happening with baseball, and then all of a sudden it's opening day. Attribute that to March Madness. So I think having 64 teams to watch, especially the first 2 or 3 rounds, when there's 4 or 5 games on at a time, you always have a game to watch. Whatever channel you're on, a team is playing that you're either half familiar with or actually rooting for. Got to give a shout out to Gonzaga. Let us down again. They always will. Just really root for them because of the home state, but there's always something in the back of my mind that says they're going to do it this year. And if anybody watched their last game, they absolutely got annihilated. But
Crushed.
but you never know. Again, it just goes to show you got to have those matchups.
And
So
also, yeah, credit to a number 4 ranked UConn, maybe underranked, but man, I mean, that was tough.
definitely. Well, I'm excited. I don't know if you have any predictions. But I would love to see San Diego State make it all the way. I think they could. I think they've been playing really well, but it looks like the writing is kind of on the wall for UConn to take it all the way this year. But either way, it's just been fun to see these 4 teams rise to the top.
Yeah, to see a Mountain West representation in the Final Four is huge. I saw that every Mountain West school got like some sort of amount of like a couple $100,000 each or just under $1 million or something.
Yeah, each Mountain West school, because Nevada, Boise State, and San Diego State made it, get a certain amount. And then the farther that San Diego State goes, the more each of the schools in the Mountain West get. And so last I saw, it was up to $240,000 a year per school for the next 6 years.
Jeez.
So yeah, every school is making just about, I think it was just about $1 million, maybe just over, which is pretty incredible just for one team kind of carrying the conference on their back.
Yeah, I mean, super cool. Um, I mean, just to have that, I don't know. It was pretty cool to be at the game that Boise State beat San Diego State in the second to last game of the season, to lock up the number 2 spot in the Mountain West before they went to play for the championship. I know that they didn't make it all the way when they were playing in Vegas, but hey, maybe we do deserve to play Alabama if we beat San Diego State and they beat them.
Yeah, you never know. Well, you kicked off beer league softball season last week. We kick
Nice and
off
early.
soon. Yeah, we've got a scrimmage next week, and then I think we start in 2 or 3 more. But tell us how game 1 went and how the boys are shaping up.
Yeah, looked good. We had 11 returning guys and 5 new guys. So the bench was pretty full. We had, I think, 15 or 16 show up, but collective effort building on the last 2 seasons of starting this time last year fresh with the Patriot Fire team. And we took it home with a W 17-11 after we went up on a 12-0 lead pretty early out the gates.
Yeah, big one. Excited for your former place of employment. You're playing with the guys still, and sounded like a good win when you gave me the report last week.
Yeah, pretty awesome. It was just fun to be out there. It was a perfect night. Sun was out. And we're actually looking good tomorrow. It was windy all day here, like more than you could believe. And tomorrow's supposed to be 60 degrees and sunny. So that's baseball weather. That's what we're talking about. And we're looking to go 2-0 after tomorrow.
Nice. That'll be exciting. Gotta, kind of show the people that you mean business after a couple seasons of warm up, and yeah, make the magic happen, coach.
Yeah, hey, this is where we belong. We're meant to be here, and we're gonna cement our spot.
Love that. Well, yeah, I'll keep the people updated. We have our managers meeting this Thursday, and then we've got a scrimmage tentatively scheduled for next week, and then hopefully we get the season kicked off here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, some of the biggest news over the weekend was Luke Combs' fourth studio album. Diving into a little bit of deep cuts here to wrap the episode up. Luke Combs released "Growing Old," technically the second part of the "Growing Up" album that he released last fall, and 18 new songs. A few had been teased or released in the weeks leading up to the album. Hunter and I are going to do it justice that it deserves on a later episode, but while it's fresh, we're going to get our initial reaction of our top three songs from Luke Combs' newest album, Growing Old, who I would call the Garth Brooks of our generation, already selling out stadiums, already just an incredible artist and dad, and again gonna be a dad times two here soon, and just rocking the country music world. So Hunter, give us initial thoughts, and then if you can, your top three.
Man, that's a hard one. I mean, right off the bat, title track, bringing both of them together, growing up and getting old. Um, it starts off the Getting Old album. It's it's so good. It speaks to this. I feel like this time of our lives, um, just meeting our people, getting married, settling down, having our lives, building it. This is what it's looking like, shaping our futures. Um, so yeah, growing up and then getting old, and as young as we feel, the clock's ticking, and talks about, hey, like, no matter what happens, you're still growing up in some sense, but you're you're out there and you're getting old to a certain degree also.
Yeah, I definitely am excited to do a full album review because I have a lot of thoughts on all the songs. I will say it's funny with 18 songs, there's just enough on there where whenever I turn the album on, I'll immediately go to, a certain four or five that have just kind of been stuck in my head. But even today I was just listening and I've gone through multiple times. There's a few songs on there that maybe I've only listened to two or three times as opposed to 5 to 10, and they still kind of sneak up on me. But I'll go I'll go with my three just because we have to narrow it down to three to start. There's a lot of good stuff I'm leaving out on here. But my initial top three in no particular order is See Me Now, and that's one that he released on YouTube during the pandemic. It's been one of my favorites since he did it, and I think he absolutely delivered. So See Me Now, Where the Wild Things Are, Luke's first song that he did not co-write, which is just crazy because it totally fits him. It's his style. He delivers it, probably one of the best that I've ever heard him sing. And that song hit me like a truck the first time that I was listening to it. So See Me Now, Where the Wild Things Are, and rounding out my top three with Five Leaf Clover. That was one that he had teased at a concert actually about a year ago, and he heard the demand for it. It looks like it's already being sent to country radio, and I know every time I listen to that song, I just think, man, I am a lucky guy. I've got so much going for me, and that's basically what Luke's singing about in that song. So it's hard to narrow 18 amazing songs that will all be at least gold certified one day, down to three, but those are my three at the moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to match you with two of those. See Me Now is I love that. Just think about the past people in your life. Makes you just appreciate who you have, where you are. Makes you want to tell all the important people around you how much you love them. So yeah, See Me Now, and then Where the Wild Things Are. I feel like that one just takes you for a ride. And I know I opened up with the first song with the title track. I won't throw that in my top three. But well, man, maybe for now. Oh man, it's hard. Because there's so many that I want to dive into, but we have to wait for an album review.
Yeah, you just gotta
um,
go.
so
Just
actually, I think I will go with that as my third. So that'll just be my different one. Because I have a couple that's like I know it's four, I know it's five.
yeah, I have
But
like a next three honorable mention, but I can always save those if
yeah,
we're waiting to do the dedicated time.
I feel like we should just give opening day the time it deserves and the album the time it deserves.
Both great things to celebrate. I will say great pick with growing up and getting old. I mean, there's not a song out there that's like it, and I think it's amazing. The only other one I have to mention because he put it out a while ago, the song called Joe, it leaves you totally wondering what it's going to be about, and he absolutely delivers, kind of a cool different type of song, one that is about not getting into drinking and party songs, but just kind of slowing it down and getting on the right track. So all that said, give this a listen if you have not, even if you're not a country fan. I always see tweets. It's like, what artist would you show somebody if they don't listen to country, or what one song would you make somebody listen to if they were trying to get into country music? I would say, what one album would I have someone listen to? Probably Growing Old, because it has a lot of sounds of today all the way back to the 90s. And yeah, once we go through the full album review, you'll get to learn a lot more. But until then, prepare yourself by listening to all 18 songs at least one time through.
Yeah, no doubt. And one thing that this makes me want to do is go back and go top to bottom with growing up and then straight into top to bottom of getting old because I feel like there's got to be some cool connections there.
Yeah, I bet there is. Maybe that'll be on my agenda for the rest of the week, because yeah, I'm not really sure exactly where it goes on there, but I bet there's some connection that we haven't even realized up to this point.
Yeah, for sure. Well, excited to get into it, excited for opening day. I wish we were both going to be there together. But we'll make it to a game this summer and we'll have the food on the couch to watch the Mariners at home in the home opener whites.
Yeah, definitely excited. Get the jerseys out, dust off the hats, and we'll see you at the ballpark.
Yeah, ready for it, excited. Got to wear the jersey to work like like a kid first day of school, opening day.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't be more excited for it. Thanks everybody for tuning into our opening day preview. We're definitely excited. Drop your predictions on our Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook group. Who do you think is going to the World Series this year? What's your team going to accomplish? And we're excited to get back into regular season.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Can't believe it's here. But it's been a long wait, a little less of a wait than we're used to with the postseason run, but we're ready to do it again and go further.
Yeah, well, thanks everyone for tuning in to episode 144. Crazy that we've made it this far, but couldn't do it without all of your support. Don't forget, if you haven't, like, rate, subscribe, review. It really does mean a lot to us. We love seeing any feedback that you can give. And we'll be back next week in the regular season of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and that won't change for the next 6 months. So
Yep.
buckle up, we're here for it.
Yeah, ready, set, go.
Well, Dunk, as always, and ode to opening day.
Yeah, let's climb
Let's
the
climb the
ladder.
ladder.